Have you traveled alone, Becky?
Yes, and I love it.
Oh, I love traveling, and I love traveling by myself. I absolutely love it. You know when they say if you're getting like a medical treatment done or you're doing something and you're like, go to your happy place? Have you ever had that? Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Like you're getting dental work or you're getting a shot or they're like, go to your happy place. One of my happy places is traveling by myself, just the experience in some of the places that I've been because I'm just me, my own thoughts, my own world. It's empowering, freeing. It is just, I love traveling by myself. I get to think, I get to do what I want when I want to do it. My own chatter is enough. A lot of times I don't need other chatter.
Mhm.
So it's my favorite thing. I love to travel by myself because I can also spend hours getting lost doing whatever I want to do. And I don't feel like I need to worry about whatever anyone else wants to do or we don't have to compromise. It's just completely self indulgent. That's what that comes down to. I just realized totally self indulgent. I'm good with that.
Hey everyone, this is Becky,
And I'm Angie.
and welcome to Real Talk with Becky and Angie.
So there's my perspective. Travel alone, travel safely, swivel head, look behind you, step around, turn around, do all those things. Enjoy the journey, take the adventure, and I waited to do traveling by myself until I was my 50s, actually. Becky, I think I was in my 50s.
When you did the Jeep thing and you did
Mm-hmm.
yes, in Colorado. Uh-huh.
In Colorado, yes. That was absolutely that was the most empowering thing that was the best. I loved every moment of that. So I encourage all women and all men, travel alone, go it alone, enjoy the journey. It's so much fun. Be safe. Okay, tell me about you.
Yeah, I when I was in Mary Kay, Mindy and I she's been our friend since junior high, elementary school. And
Hi,
hi
Mindy.
Mindy. And we would meet in Texas in July for the annual seminar. And this one year, it was about 3 days before I was ready to go, and she wasn't able to go. And I had never traveled alone. And I go, oh my God, I'm going to be alone in a hotel room. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to be alone in a hotel room. And it just flipped to, oh my God, I get to go alone. I get to be alone. I get to stay alone. I'd never been alone in a hotel room. And I loved every single second of it. And I've traveled a lot by myself since then, either to, coaching seminars or to leadership seminars or even Mary Kay events. Went it alone, and I loved staying in the hotel by myself. I loved all of it. It's so wonderful. And so Angie said she started in her 50s. It was probably in, I don't know, 2013, something like that, 2013 maybe. So it was a while ago, 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
And so if you're a younger woman and you're listening to this and maybe you're gasping like, I can't imagine traveling by myself. Go have a meal by yourself. Go out to dinner by yourself. Have lunch by yourself. I remember when I first became single several years ago, many years ago, and I really wanted to go to the movies. We used to go to the movies together, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought maybe I could go to the movies by myself. Like no one's there. And then I became to where I only wanted to go to the movies by myself. I didn't want anybody sitting next to me. I could have my own snacks. Nobody was bugging me. No one was chatting in my ear during the movie. I loved it. So if you are wanting to venture out on your own, go to the movies, go to lunch, go to the park and do something by yourself. It is
Yes.
so empowering to be able to do things by yourself. That's my.
I agree. I think it comes down to empowering. It feels so good. It feels so good. Yes, renting that Jeep and then just four-wheeling up by myself.
Yeah.
That was so epic. Epic. It's going to be my word.
That was a big adventure.
Okay. Loved that. Oh, loved that. I needed it. It was necessary for the transition time in my life. That was a pivotal moment. So don't wait till your 50s. If you can do it now, like Becky said, little micro adventures by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Embrace your unique journey. Comparison steals joy. Becky, you have a saying like this.
I do have a saying. Comparison steals and gratitude heals. If you find yourself, well, in my Well, it's in one of my programs that I have this thing when you recognize that you're comparing yourself to somebody else, you simply take a moment and say comparison without judgment, and then you're just pausing to make a different choice. And in that moment, if you find yourself comparing yourself to others, then find three things for which you are grateful. I'm grateful for you, Angie. I'm grateful for our friendship.
Love that. I'm grateful for our history. I'm grateful for doing this podcast with you and the grace that we give each other, the grace you give me.
Yeah, right back at you. The grace. I had a little technical difficulties today, and so thank you.
It's usually me, guys. So for when it's Beckie, I'm like, thank God it's not me today.
So what
Okay.
about you? Comparison. What?
Well, I was thinking when you said that about like comparing yourself to another person. And we talked about earlier that our body composition, if we just took the two of us, we couldn't be any more different. And I mean, even my daughter, she's my daughter. Yes, we do look alike if you were to just take certain aspects, but she's 5'1". I'm 5'8". She's tiny, petite. I'm big and muscular. I mean, it's just, we're so totally different. What is there to compare?
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you really break it down to what are we comparing against? And I kind of think we just need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So I really think that there's nothing that in the bare bones, really taking it down. Comparison is just, I'm going to use this word. It's very fundamental. Could even be juvenile. Comparison is stupid.
Well, I did a live on that, remember? And you commented
Yes.
on it. And I can't remember, you commented, made it in a totally different perspective than it was intended. I was like, oh, I hadn't looked at it that way. I don't remember exactly what you said. And I don't even remember what the live was on. But yeah, it's like, it was gross. That's what I think I said. I said it was disgusting.
Yes.
Like when
Oh,
you're,
I know what it was.
when you're comparing yourself, it's like, it's kind of disgusting. Like I got disgusted about myself.
You gross.
Yeah.
You used gross, and that was your word. And so mine was stupid right now. But remember my perspective was if you're comparing to level up.
Yes.
So if it's not in competition with, but hey, I'm really admire how Beckie has done the half marathon, that she did this big hike in Yosemite, like comparing where you're at because you want to level up, not in competition and not in comparison, but if it's an inspiring to level up, that's how I used it. I think it can be inspiring. And that would take a comparison because you have to compare to be able to see where you're at to where you want to go. That's my brain.
Yeah. Is that really comparison or is that more inspiration? Like if I was,
well,
because
I don't know. If I looked and said, Beckie's 56, she's done all of these things, assuming that I have similar capabilities, right? Like if I don't have medical conditions that would prevent me from doing some of the things you're doing. Let's just put it like apples to apples. If there were such a thing, maybe a couple grapes thrown in or something. I don't know. But to say, hey, you know what? At least I can do something. If Beckie's out there doing that, instead of coming from a place of comparing myself, which could be like defeating and demoralizing, but to say, wow, comparing where Beckie's at and where I'm at, I really think I could up my game. Maybe a backwards way to look at it. It's kind of what I do, but that's where I went with that. When you said it was gross, I'm like, yeah, but
yeah,
just think of it different.
That I feel like that's more like inspiration than comparison. And hey, tomatoes.
I'll let you.
Yeah,
I'll let you have that.
Okay. Am I inspiring you?
You totally won me over with that one. All right. Let's do this. Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. It's never too late. Becky, we did a podcast.
We did an entire podcast on reinvention and it was spectacular. We'll be linking it down below. Real quickly, Angie, how many times do you think in your life you've reinvented yourself?
Well, I said this in that podcast, countless.
I think you said every day.
I don't know. Yeah, every day. Every day I wake up, it's like, oh, what can I do today that's different than I did? Because I'm not, I believe in reinventing myself or the opportunity to be open to reinventing myself every day. I'm open. Like, not because I'm wishy-washy, but I think that the world changes, we evolve. There's new, I'm all about reinventing myself. Yeah. So Beckie, and you?
Yeah. I'm actually going to take this one and the one before. So comparison and reinventing. This is something
Mhm.
that this is where I've been finding my brain a lot lately, and it's my mindset. And how can I improve my mindset? And I've been listening to a lot of books, and I'm hearing their mindset. And there's this this is where I compare myself, is how they think. What is the conversation going on in their head to push themselves forward? And how can I adopt that? How can I reinvent my thoughts and what's going on inside my head? And so that's kind of that so going back to comparison, I do compare in that way. And then, but yet how can I pull it in and reinvent my thinking? Because I think I work on my thinking more than anything, and I choose that to be the hardest thing to overcome, is that those tapes that keep playing in my head of you're not strong enough to run a half marathon. Who do you think you are? Overcoming those tapes, they're still in there, and trying to break them up and put new tapes in there. I'm thinking of the
Hmm.
VCR. Remember the VCR where you just lift up and slide it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks it in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, yeah. And then I'm going to challenge you, and I think that that's inspiration. You're listening to these books, and you're getting inspired on how to think differently.
Yeah. Well, yes, yes, because I'm thinking, wow, how come I don't think that way? And then, okay, how can I think that way? So that's an
Mhm.
interesting point, because it's like it starts with comparison, and then I have a choice. Am I
You have a
going to beat
choice.
myself up because I don't think that way? Or am I going to allow it to inspire me to change my